Hey, welcome to another episode of Bombastic. I'm your host, BST. Bombastic is presented by Hawke Media, and we've got a special guest today. His name is Claude Shires.
I have to have like an alias at Starbucks because people are always like, Quan, your drink is ready.
Tell me about the name.
My full name is Claude William Shires. Not like I need to read it out for you like a mug, but I'm the youngest of 8 kids, right?
Wow. Mormon family from Florida?
No, Catholic, just ambitious, I think.
Nice. Rhythm method.
Exactly. And so my dad had his first 5 kids, Danny, Ben, Sarah, Melinda, and Patricia. And then he had 3 more kids with my mom, Robert, John, and myself. And so I'm a twin, actually. Robert's my twin brother. And they had all these names picked out. And this was back in 1971. They were like, oh my God, there's another one in there. And so they were like, we have to come up with a name. So I ended up getting the name Claude, which was my dad's best friend.
So he was drunk.
I think he might actually be my dad.
So was he like drunk with his buddy and he's made some pact with him like, dude, I'm going to name my kid after you?
You know what? I don't know, but I think it was one of those things. It was like, the last minute, who can be, you know what? That guy's been really great to the family. We'll make it that guy's name. So my whole life, it was like John, Robert, and what? Your name's Claude again? How
are you weathering the storm? This whole fucking Corona thing.
We're a provider of laughter, as a streaming service. So I think it's actually, we've grown.
Yeah, what's the name of the company?
Laugh Lounge.
Yeah, Laugh Lounge. And you started this how long ago?
So we originally founded the company in 2016, and then we rebuilt it from the ground up over the last, since August of 2019. And so, you kind of get your first kind of MVP out the door. It's kind of like built with sugar and string and whatnot. And so we did that, and then we got a bunch of content and relaunched it in October. And we were very much artist forward from the get-go. We're a very socially conscious company. Like, the whole goal is to help the artist make a monthly recurring revenue that helps them where they need it from even before the virus. So when the virus hit, it was like everybody's suddenly at home and comics need to make coin, so it was like there was a need.
Stevie was telling me, one of the producers of the show, that you just had a really successful event, some sort of Laugh Aid or something. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Laugh Aid was an amazing live stream event that we did benefiting comedians that are affected by COVID-19. And we raised at last check $368,000 in donations with Comedy Gives Back for comedians that are in need. And yeah, that was a crazy experience because it was one of those things that literally snowballed, and you really got to see, I think, the good in humanity kind of just, one person just says go, and then everybody starts throwing in, and before you knew it, we were like, oh, we have like 2 or 3 comics, dude. We had 91 comedians, 25 producers, and 12 engineers. And it was 8 hours of live stream, which we only expected it to be like 4 hours. We expected it to be 2 hours, and it just kept like expanding. And with no rehearsal, I might add. Literally, think about everything that goes into that. We had enough time to get talent links, get them into a room where we could talk to them, and then go on air. And you could see it in the live stream. At one point, somebody goes, dude, are you reading a book over there? And I was like, bro, I'm praying right now. Like, geez, I hope this thing works, So
what platform did you use to make that happen?
We used a mixture of different platforms. We used a few different streaming platforms. Plus we used a vMix, video switcher, and we basically used a kind of a hacked together Millennium Falcon of control rooms in order to make that happen because everybody was in remote.
Yeah. So you kind of spliced it all together.
Yeah, we had to, because there's so much delay typically in between video streaming platforms, and we had to engineer it such that it was live and high quality, not only on the Laugh Lounge app, but also on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Then Access TV picked it up for a television broadcast on cable. Wow. So it was one of those things, like there's like dudes covered in cables.
Comedians, these guys are performing live, and they're not probably the best business people either.
In fact, yes, that's a great point.
So how did you reach them and say, hey, bro, like I got a lifeline for you, like grab onto this, I can help you?
The solution that we have to help comics and to reach them is like their social media. You know what I mean? It's like, let's partner. Like, Laugh Lounge isn't just my platform, it's your platform as an artist. And let's connect on it and do a rev share on these subscriptions. and each artist independently could have that deal as well as comedy clubs. So we were building that before this hit.
So did you tap into, like, I know that comedians have all their, like in Portland, Oregon, LA, San Francisco, they all have their little hangouts online where they know like when the open mics are and stuff. Have you had success tapping into a bunch of those places over the last couple of months?
The Laugh Aid thing kind of helped us get really visible in the comedy community. And then of course the Facebook groups are really great. There's tons of stand-up comedy Facebook groups, Instagram, LinkedIn, just everywhere on the internet that there's a group of comics. And that's where we're really going out to. And again, to your point, comics really aren't great business people, but they're great at like promoting their shows.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do was to take graphic design out of the hands of comedians, kind of like, joke intended, and into the hands of an honest to God graphic designer. So what we're out to do is help the comedians get the marketing tools where they need them the most, and then let them focus on what they're good at, telling jokes.
So what's the VIG? You guys, it's a $5 fee or something? Is that what
It's a $5 fee, and out of the fee, like right now, the deal's set to where a comic will get $1, we'll get $1, and then Apple or Google takes the in between.
Okay.
It's basically like an easy way for them to, and it's variable. So depending on, like right now we're at $4.99 a month and $19.99 a year, and we're going to change to $45 a year. We were supposed to change that by the end of March, but we basically, because of COVID, ended up deciding not to do that.
So your business benefit from COVID or get its ass kicked by COVID?
Hold on 1 second. My wife's blowing me up. 2 seconds. Babe, I'm on a podcast.
Bro.
Okay, where are you?
I'm upstairs.
Okay, well, you said it came running out and you didn't answer.
Well, I didn't answer because I was on a podcast. Sorry.
Have you seen his mustache? Have you seen the mustache and the beard?
Do you like the mustache, babe? Tell the truth.
No.
See, it's working.
Unbelievable.
You can finally do something with it, and just be like, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going Dirk Diggler.
Dude, you got to go Raleigh Fingers with the big handlebar mustache, right?
Well, now that we're in the Zoom world, like I keep forgetting because, we're just broing out right now. So I wouldn't even think about it. But then I get on like a corporate call and it's like, hello. So it's like,
these are crazy times, man. There's definitely going to be, one of those checks in history of, oh yeah, that was COVID. I mean, I'm a geezer, bro. I'm 56. And so I've been through, like, I started out as a stockbroker in, 87, right? The Wolf of Wall Street story. And I was there for 3 months and then, the market crashed. And so I've been through all these different things. And this thing is just so fucking trippy. Like we're self-choking each other out. We're just like, inducing self-comas, and it's really weird, man.
I don't know if you saw the news. It was some dude who was like, dude, after the coronavirus, dude, this is fucking bullshit. And then he died from the coronavirus like 2 weeks later. And his wife was like, wait a second. He would have taken that back if he would have known, like.
Oh, he died?
Yeah, he was some 60-year-old dude in Ohio. By the way, I would have never guessed that you look 56. You look like you're 30 years old. So I don't know if you're injecting disinfectant or what you're doing, but it works.
Dude, it's the Irish. Like I told my wife, I've been married almost 30 years, and I told my wife she's gonna appreciate me when I'm getting into my 60s because my round, like fat Irish, like oily face is gonna finally start to sink into like a 25-year-old by the time I'm 80. And I'm going to have like this sick jawline and stuff.
You're just getting younger, like Benjamin Button, dude.
Yeah, absolutely right, man. It's funny. I heard this story about you and some penis, and you got like thrown out of school or something. But you're a serious businessman now. But I do think it's kind of a funny story. Was it one penis that you got thrown out of school for? It was like peni.
So actually, it's funny. I posted that on Facebook today, and what it was is. Hillsborough County Schools sent me an official letter. They suspended me from school for 5 days for being continuously disruptive and for making a penis out of clay. And I loved the choice of words, flaunting it around the classroom. So I got suspended. And my dad sent me the letter because he's in quarantine. And he said, hey, I was going through old shit. Now I'm going to frame that shit. So I'll give it to you. You can present it.
Was it like a Demi Moore moment? Was somebody sitting behind you, like while you were in the penis?
The teacher.
See, that was back in the old days. What kind of fame did you draw after the penis event?
It was my dad tried to make it real serious, and he got the whole family, during right after dinner, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to read this right here. I'm just going to read this right now. And he's like, You know what? Here, I actually have the letter for you. I'll read it.
You do.
I have it right in front of me. It's just because, like I was saying, I posted it today, and it's actually the anniversary. It was 34 years ago this week. That was like what I thought was so funny as I was looking it up, and it's from, yeah, the date is April 22nd, 1986. Dear Mrs. Shires, they got the address wrong. But dear Mrs. Shires, this is a letter of confirmation concerning the recent suspension of Claude from Wilson Junior High School for a period of 5 days from April 23rd through April 29th, 1986. There, I'm dating myself. He may return to school on April 30th, 1986. Thank God, I can't wait. He is being suspended for being continuously disruptive in his classes and for making a penis out of clay and flaunting it in class. I love the flaunt. We will not tolerate this kind of behavior at school. I love that. We realize that this suspension is not the total solution. However, our personnel has made every effort to help your child through other means. Please be advised that Claude is not to be on this or any other school campus, which I love going to other campuses, in any events involving Wilson Junior High School during the suspension. In the event that he attempts to re-enter the campus, which I might do still, he will be subject to prosecution for the trespassing. They sincerely hope that this is the end of suspension, that your son will strive to be more cooperative.
And probably the principal still has it in his sock drawer right now, doesn't he?
Well, dude, I'm sure when they were paddling me, dude, like, you know, it's like every school that I went to, there was like somebody that like went down for child molestation or something. So, you know, they're paddling me like, oh yeah.
Wasn't it weird?
Oh, yeah.
See, like I went to Catholic school and before they paddled you, they'd say, hold on a second, put this on. And I was like, are you fucking
What?
I'm like, Mom, why'd they make me wear this outfit? Like before
exactly.
It wasn't so bad. It was a humiliation of like those long socks and like a bow tie. Like, did they do that to you?
Yeah. No. They didn't. They would. What our system at Wilson was, you got a certain number of demerits, and then they called you in, and they did paddle you. And they had the Board of Education that had the like, it was like a paddle board with holes in it.
Right.
And then what we knew like was like, dude, I had 7 of these things, and I know I'm going down for this shit, so to speak. So I would go to the bathroom, and I would take those really shitty paper towels that you could fold into squares, and I would basically stick those in between my ass and my underwear, and then they would be like paddling me, and I'd be like, "Do," you know?
Those were the original hacks before like the internet and people started
using
hack.
Yeah,
a paddle hack. I don't know. Did it freak you out like when they like the tripod with the camera on it when they were paddling you? What'd you think about that?
Well, you know, it was the lighting crew that was most disturbing.
Yeah, right. It could have been a lot more intimate and friendly, I think.
You know, the dude in the like gimp suit always like made me uncomfortable. I don't know.
That's wild, man. So what do you think of these people, like these states now that are right like 2 weeks before the federal government says, you know, just bear with us, you know, let's take this thing through May, whatever. And these guys are like, nah, we're going to break open your great state of Florida, opening up the beaches. What do you think about that?
Dude, well, here's what I think. I think that, you know, it's all fun and games until somebody gets their eye out, you know? And I think that like, you know, I just read this morning that the Chinese shut down another city bigger than Wuhan, 10 million people, right? Because that shit got out. And we're over here like, just whatever. What, dude, it's beautiful. You know, I think that we haven't hit some of the stuff that they've hit. We're just starting to. And I think that, you know, it's obviously going to be common sense, but it's just, you know, we haven't seen this before.
This is what gets me all fucking worked up and kind of bombastic is that they put fences on top of the fences. I live on Ocean Avenue in Santa Monica. And now all of a sudden people are starting to get flipped out. They're like, they feel like they're in a maze.
Yeah.
It's just really unnatural. So I think people like this weekend, I think people are going to go apeshit.
Well, you know, here's the thing. It's, you know, we've never been through this before. So we're just going to have to see what it shakes out. But, you know, this is the thing about humanity is we always go up and around and over and under and we do what we have to do. You know, like we'll get through this, dude. There's tremendous opportunity to figure out some solutions for this. That's what, you know.
So as an entrepreneur, what verticals do you think within business are going to capitalize on this whole situation?
Dude, fashionable masks right off the fucking bat. Pardon my French.
You know, thinking of timing, I'm an entrepreneur like you, and I got really lucky. I started an internet company back in '95. Turned out to be good timing, and I sold it right before the crash. I've been on the bad side of timing too, which is fucking not a good thing. But I invested in the mask company called Air Bandit in like the beginning of December.
Amazing.
It was for smoke, and all the smog in California. So that turned out to be a good deal for sure.
Fantastic.
We've been quarantining. Everybody's, a lot of people, most people hopefully been doing this. And then you decide one day, we're just going to open up everybody. What's the purpose? If now all of a sudden we're going to open up and we don't have a cure and we don't have a way to stop it spreading necessarily, except for social distancing, and then we're going to just open it all up. Does all that trouble, all the choking ourselves out, go for naught?
We're just going to have to suffer a little bit, unfortunately. And then when we start to come out of this, testing is going to be the answer. Because like, if we know that you've had it, or if you know that you've had it, or you haven't had it, then you're in a category of risk either way. Right. Yeah. So I think that just looking at testing, antibodies specifically as part of the solution, and then just using common sense. If you don't need to go out, if your job, like my job, I'm a video editor most of the time. That's my day job. Yeah. So I'm usually kind of self-quarantined anyway. Right. I mean, I have to like push to go out and get exercise and stuff like that. So, and I think that, just having common sense in testing, and then realizing that, that there's data that can help us solve this problem, and relying on science to help us guide, your way through it, and then just using common sense.
So what makes you like bombastic or crazy? Give me top 3 things during this last 2.5 months.
Having to deal with my kid at home is just driving me up the fucking wall, dude. It's just, it's because, congratulations, she's in Zoom school. We spent, $25,000 a year on private school that she's not going to now.
You're going to give it back to you though, right?
Well, no, they're not giving it back, dude. They're keeping it, which, you know what? Look, hey, they're on with Zoom with them. To me, that's worth something. But for my wife, dude, she is taking the brunt of it. Because I'm like, dude, I'm here with you. I'm trying to work, you know what I mean? I'm trying to build stuff. How old is your son? 7. My daughter's 7.
Oh, your daughter's 7. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, these dream stealers, they come into your life and they just take. Yeah. I have 4 of them. I'm Irish.
My God.
Crazy.
All boys or?
Boy, girl, boy, girl.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. But they're all like 4. My last one, it just came home from school, and she's been look, I had this big house in Oregon. That's where I'm from. Do you have an Oregon shirt on, man?
I do. I was going to tell you that earlier.
Dude, what's that? Tell me about that.
Well, that's where I would love to move to Portland. That's actually one of my, that's my next move.
I lived there for 22 years. Mm-hmm. Think about somebody from New York, bombastic, has no fucking patience, moves to Portland, Oregon. They thought I was the Antichrist, man.
It is, yeah, of course.
And now 4 of my kids grew up in Portland, Oregon.
Amazing.
And they're like foreigners to me. I look at them and I go, what the fuck is this? My young daughter has like a tattoo of a wave on her arm. And I go, what the fuck is that?
I know, you're like, oh God.
Portland, Oregon's a place that if you have a job, like people don't like you. They hate you if you work.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And yet I was there for 20 something years. So obviously with the rain, having everybody drive me crazy, I still love the place. It was amazing.
Yeah, I love Oregon, dude. Columbia River Gorge.
Oh,
dude, oh my God, so beautiful.
Unbelievable. The rain is something now. The rain
takes a toll.
It's like that just a torture. It's a slow drip of torture. But if you grew up in Florida and you live in LA now,
yeah.
So you appreciate the rain for a while, but after 20 years, I moved to LA. I went through like human photosynthesis. Like when the sun comes out, I just felt like I was taller. I was like growing towards the sun.
That's why you look so young. Maybe Oregon just preserved you. No sunshine.
Yeah. People are like, hey man, look, see my big bald head? Mm-hmm. So people are like, hey man, make sure you get sunscreen. I go, listen, I don't need to put sunscreen on my head till I die. All right. I haven't gotten any fucking sun on my head for 23 years. So the way I figured, I'm 56. I got another good 24. Even if I get cancer in 24, 25 years, I'm probably going to want to go anyways. So
I play that same game. Well, hey, look, you live in Oregon, or that's the nice thing about Oregon. It's a right to die state. So you get sick, you go to the doctor, you go, hey, you know what? I'm sick.
What are the things that get you crazy? 1, your kid. What's number 2?
The school stuff. I mean, having to watch the endless coronavirus updates is just driving me up the fucking wall. The news is just, it's too much, dude. It's literally like I'm doing myself a favor, and I'm still addicted to it, by the way. I'm like I'll out myself on it, but it's just like, bro, it's too much. It's just
how many hours of news are you watching? How many hours do you give yourself a day?
Well, I'm in editing, so I'm editing 2 comedy specials right now for Netflix. So I usually get about 20 to 30 minutes of like pure just Claude time before I have to crash out, and I turn on YouTube and I go through like a series of news programs just to see what's there, and I'm like, why do I even do this to myself?
Yeah.
I shouldn't see that before I go to bed, you know?
No, absolutely. It's like my wife watches these like Housewives of Atlanta and Beverly Hills and all these crazy shows. And then Trump comes on and does his thing. And it's kind of like a
The
blur of
best.
reality TV.
Yeah.
It's really funny. And you don't even have to get political to just watch that show and know that it fits into Bravo somewhere. Like, I don't know why it's on C-SPAN. It's really funny to watch. But what do you think of this fucking Tiger King phenomena?
Dude, I started watching that show, man, and you know what? It just goes to show that the fucking universe is full of freak show, dude.
Yeah.
It's a massive. Just when you think you've seen it all, you
Yeah.
know.
Just when you finished like paying off all your student loans, NYU or USC or wherever you went to school to study film,
Yeah.
and you did those internships where you were like getting coffee and washing balls like for fucking 10 years. You finally get that gig with Hulu or Netflix. You're still making your way, and then fucking Tiger King comes along and breaks
Yes,
everything.
records. Yeah. Well, everybody. I think that at the core of all that is story, right? And I think that's kind of like where it comes out is it's like set aside the medium for a second, and you just go, God damn, because you look at the quality and you go, dude, what the hell's going on here? And but you can't fucking turn away.
Some shit just happens, right?
Someone had to go through more than one
Yeah,
person
right.
and be like, take this, and we're gonna fucking put it over here. We're gonna move this, and then pull this part over here, and then, oh, dude, where are we? With like, somewhere in the room, there's a fucking whiteboard that's just covered in shit.
Ridiculously, somebody decided this is magic now.
At the end of the day, it's like, it's kind of, you just have to get every single fucking thing right in that environment, and that's part of why I think, when it comes to filmmaking, it's like, it's so much work for so little payoff. You know what I mean? I mean, look at all the movies coming out that you've never seen. When you see all those thumbnail tiles in your iTunes library and Netflix, how many of them are you not watching? Most, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's mind bending. Growing up in New York with 5 channels, and seeing the plethora of entertainment and all these channels and documentaries is mind bending right now. So let me ask you a question.
Yep.
How many people do you think are really working at home right now? I'm working my ass off. It seems like I'm on calls nonstop, but how many people do you really think are working? How much more productive are we?
Well, the crazy thing is like we were able to pull off Laugh Aid, which was like just an insane, like I said, a Millennium Falcon experience, like because everybody was at home. Everybody was available because of that. So, the question I guess actually becomes this I think commercial real estate is going to take a huge hit after this. And I'll tell you why in a sec, but
absolutely agree.
You know what I mean? Because people are like, well, fuck me. You just slacked it.
Why do I have this 29,000 square foot, like hipster kingdom?
When you guys can work from home and you don't have to and now that your kid's back in school, I just saved the company $2,600, dollars a week or whatever it is in rent. And, and I think that, so the question ultimately becomes, I think it will come into focus, who's a really great gig worker and who isn't during this time. Because if you're like me and I work on, I work on a calendar, like this is when they want this is when they want that. This is when this goes to that department and so on and so forth. So I have a calendar already built out for me of what deliverables have to be where. So if I hit my deadline, whether I hit it in a day or a week, I'm done. Do you know what I mean? So, but not everybody's job is like that, right? Like some people's jobs, it's like, well, I got to go to the thing and I drop off stuff. I got to be there at 8. I got to put in my time card and I got to go. So for those people, I don't know, but I just think that what's really going to come out of this is a huge push to automation, which I said from the beginning, because robots don't get sick. You know what I mean? They're not out there if somebody's driving a truck and they can't drive a truck because they're sick, that's a problem. You know what I mean? So I think that the upside of this is you're going to see a huge, uptick in automation and autonomous, ways to automate systems. And And unfortunately, that's gonna take a toll on people. But again, I think that that will come into, how can we retrain people, or people get into, learn how to use the internet, learn how to use Zoom as a tool to make money, learn how to like use your knowledge and a skill set, become a consultant.
Agreed. I was talking to a friend of mine who owns a restaurant in Portland called Mother's, and it's a real famous staple. And I was telling her, listen, Lisa, I'm happy to help you or any other restaurateurs to try to brand and market themselves, because a lot of them got really hooked on all the delivery companies and never marketed themselves. And they had so much foot traffic, right? And then they had to go towards, I need to brand myself, and I need to tell people that I'm open for business. And that was kind of foreign to them. So I agree with you. I think there's been, some light shine. There's going to be a paradigm shift. And I think hopefully we've gotten scrappy. Hopefully, with unemployment going from like 3% or less to 25%, 30% projections, that people appreciate what they have. People appreciate a job. We appreciate our employees. And we will get through it. It's going to be a blip, but it's going to be a freaky blip for sure.
You know what? My experience in life has been everything that sucked for me always yielded the best fruit. I mean, I hated it at the time. It's not like I stubbed my toe like, gee willikers, this is going to be a spiritual experience, I can't wait. But literally, like, out of the ashes of terrible experiences, things usually end up turning around in a way that I didn't necessarily see or expect, but better.
Now a generation of a bunch of people that have been criticized for being entitled, lazy, all these different things, which, by the way, I think is super funny that the kids are the ones bearing the brunt of it and the parents who created those fucking monsters don't get any flack. How did that happen?
And yeah, I know, right?
How are the millennial parents getting off the hook from creating this quote, lazy, entitled generation?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. It's funny to me because my experience was when I was 19, I was in the Marine Corps, and I made this decision based on really good marketing on the Marine Corps' part, that I got in there and I was like, oh my God, this is so not what I want to do. But it definitely taught me that, you know what, dude, sometimes the ability to sheerly withstand something is enough.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you for your service. I was in the Navy. I was.
Thank you for yours.
Yeah, thanks. I was stationed out of Mayport, Florida. Was my first duty station. I was on aircraft carriers. I was in a squadron.
Nice.
But I had a blast. Like you said, I went to boot camp, and I grew up in Westchester, New York, which was kind of hoity-toity, very preppy. I showed up to boot camp like in Bass-Weegian loafers and a V-neck Lacoste sweater, and these guys were like, "Who the fuck are you?" These are the stories that kind of make you who you are.
100%, dude. I mean, if you look at, you get through something like what you went through there in the Navy, just going through boot camp at that young age, and you go, dude, look, I learned discipline. I learned when to shut my mouth, which still like I struggle with. And, but you go through those experiences and you go, my God, like that's something that pays dividends throughout your whole life. I never thought I would say that I sound like my father now, but it's like one of those, you go through that experience and you go, you know what, that taught me to endure. It taught me that I can get through it. If I shut up and put my mouth, on hold and do the work, then I can get through it.
Really appreciate it, Claude.
My pleasure, man. And I look forward to more.
Absolutely. Peace and love.
Cheers, man.
Listen, make sure to not lose it on your kid and leave marks.
Yeah, that's why I use a rubber hose, dude. All right, man. Talk soon.
See you, buddy. Yeah, that's right.